item 7.3 is asking for the board to address the renomination of Parcel tax member Elisa Nelbach. We're asking the board to consider renominating Lisa Nelbach to another 2-year term on the Measure K Parcel Tax Committee. The bylaws of the Parcel Tax Committee stipulate 2-year terms for members. Currently, Lisa Nelbach's term is up and requires board action to renominate her. As you know, John Bowder's term is also up. However, with Mr. Bowder's election to the City Council, he has resigned his seat. As a result, beyond the request for renominating Ms. Nelbach, there is also now a vacancy on the committee.
Do we have any public comment on this? With that, do I have a motion, or do I have a discussion amongst the board? Any?
Is Lisa here today?
I just want to say thank you to the members, Member Bowders and Lisa Nelbach, and the other members who have served on the Parcel Tax Committee over the years, because it's very helpful to us. I
do want to re-emphasize that as well, Dr. Rubio, and to the audience at home and here in the boardroom. It is a thankless job, and any volunteer position, you do reap the benefits of making it better for Emeryville, so I do want to give them their thanks. With that, any other questions? If not, roll call, please.
Do you have a motion? A motion.
I'm sorry. Motion for the item.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Solis?
Yes.
Member Ball?
Yes.
Member Inch?
Yes.
President Merriam?
Yes.
Member Vargas?
I don't know Lisa, but I trust the judgment of the recommendation, so yes.
Member Langner?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. All right. Next item, interview for candidates for vacancy of the Board of Trustees.
Yes, good evening. We're at the point in our meeting where we're going to ask candidates to come in one at a time. If I recall the process, I believe, and actually some of you will remember because you just went through this, but I believe we asked the candidates to leave the room after the interview, if I'm not mistaken. So I will, if you give me just a moment, I will go get our first person to interview, Mr. Timothy Byron, and I'll be right back.
Can you help us clarify if we can ask additional questions to this? Are we must stick to the questions provided?
We'll rotate.
I believe we need to stick with these questions for the interview, but is the board not at liberty to ask additional questions? Is that what you're saying?
Or clarifying questions if we don't understand their answers.
I think what you need to decide is if these questions are the questions you want to ask before we start the interview.
Well, I think I believe we went through the process of agreeing upon the questions to be used. And so it's a format that's been used for the last 3, I think it's a 3, at least the ones I'm familiar with. So I don't see we need to vary from that. And as far as I think follow-up questions, I think it's more going to be in our deliberation when choosing.
You could. I don't think there's anything to preclude the board from asking additional questions. My recommendation would be that you make sure that you minimally ask these questions that you've agreed on and voted on, and if you so choose to see it fit to ask additional questions, I would look for questions you can ask each of the candidates, but if you have something specific, I don't think there's anything to preclude that or stop you from doing that.
I wouldn't like that process. I would like it if they don't answer the question, or it doesn't seem like you've gotten an answer, to let them know to continue answering the question.
So you might ask a follow-up question or dig a
I don't
little.
want different candidates being asked different questions. I want them all to be asked the exact same questions.
That's fine. I would like to have the ability, like you said, if they don't answer the question, to follow up and maybe get a more complete or clarified answer. That's fine with me.
It seems, so are we in a position where we can potentially add questions if possible at this point?
I'd say clarifying questions, but we should cover the 9 questions that are presented here. Also, we have a time constraint too. stay with these.
Yeah.
That way, there's no sort of disparate treatment of the candidates.
Yeah, just to be fair.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
really the question that I had in mind was, it was a rather direct question, but I would love to ask all three candidates if they were elected to the school board, whether they would run for city council afterwards. If that is
I don't
something
think
that we
that's
may be.
appropriate, sir.
Yeah. Let's move to.
Member Farkas, that's not appropriate.
You have, it's,
Is that so?
you guys, I think you have to decide as a board. If you want to take a recess and I can check with legal, if you like, I can do that, but otherwise, it's up to you how you want to proceed as a board.
Let's take a recess.
You take a recess? Okay, and I'll just double check so you know. Okay.
Anyway, re-adjourn.
All right.
Meeting. On to our proposed questions for board, our interview of board candidates for the vacancy of Christian Patz's, member Patz's position. Starting off, we're going to be slightly adjusting the questions to the fact is that we'll add anyone of our board, including the student representatives, to ask any clarifying questions to any responses that are given by the candidates. And we will be starting with Member Langdon and then rotating through asking the questions, and we'll stagger for the next candidate and then stagger for the third candidate.
All right.
Okay, starting off.
All right, so you'll have 3 minutes to answer each question, is that correct?
Yes, I'm sorry. The rules are the format is that candidate gets 3 minutes per question for a total of 27 minutes with a 3-minute wrap up if they want to, or just complete, or just to finalize their thoughts. Ms. Lang?